Hey guys, make sure to check out G2A.com. A link is in the description below. They have really cheap PC games, Xbox Live codes, and a whole bunch more. Link in the description below. Yo guys, what's up? It's XRAYZ. Welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to go through some questions that I saw on Reddit here for Call of Duty World War II and give you guys maybe some answers to some of the questions that you guys have, and hopefully we'll do this in a pretty quick manner. So let's go ahead and jump into the questions. I want to give a huge shout out to Yates19. He actually had a list of questions that he wanted YouTubers who went to E3 to answer. I figured I would oblige and answer some of these questions because I think that they're very important, and some of these might be questions that you guys have that haven't necessarily been answered. So let's jump into these questions, and hopefully I do answer a few of the questions that you guys have. Alright, so the first question was, what do I give the build of the game at E3 that I played? What rating do I give it? And I actually want to leave this all the way towards the end of the video because there's a lot of other questions that kind of build and give me my idea of what the final score is. So I want to answer the other questions before I give you guys just a general idea of what I rated out of 10. So we'll drop that towards the end. Alright, so the question, I guess, that is a pretty good one, and maybe you guys think this is a good question as well. Which game does this feel most similar to? And it's kind of weird because it was a very kind of grounded experience, so it did feel like an older COD, like a Black Ops 1 or a Black Ops 2. Obviously, the setting felt very much like a World at War game, but if I had to choose a game that it felt mostly close to, I'd probably go between a Black Ops 1 and a World at War experience. So what I mean by this, obviously the setting of World at War, but it had that flow. And I don't know if it was just me. This is just a feeling. I'm not going off like what the gunfights felt like or anything like that. Just a feeling I had. It felt very similar to Black Ops 1. I don't know why it did. Maybe it was the engagements. Maybe it was how fast we were playing. I don't know. But it did feel like a very good experience to me. Black Ops 1 is my favorite Call of Duty. So the fact that it made me feel like I was playing a very Black Ops 1 kind of map, or very Black Ops 1 style game, it was good to me, which was why I was very excited. Alright, so question number 2, what was the general pace of the game? I have to say it was actually pretty fast. Like, this is one that I think that a lot of people, and I think even people on the Infinite Warfare subreddit were saying World War slow, and it's not slow at all. The engagements were very fast, and it was honestly a very pretty fast experience. There was a few times where I was running around, couldn't find where everyone was at, but that was a couple of times only. The rest of the time, you were in the zone, you were very immersed, and it was very fast paced. So if you're worried it's going to be slower, like a Modern Warfare Remastered kind of experience, don't worry. At least the group that we were in, which, I mean, it was a very controlled group, so it's not like there was anyone who was camping, so it could be different once the actual game is out, but in the build we played, it did feel very fast-paced, and I think it's going to be a very fast-paced game. Because especially, you don't got to worry about people flying up from the corners anymore, so I think that's good. I think it's going to make some people who are hesitant to move around to actually try and run around and be a slayer. Alright, so question number 3. Did the kills feel satisfying, and were the score streaks satisfying? And I'm going to go ahead and answer first the kills. The kills felt very satisfying. Maybe it was because of the time to kill, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here in another question that was asked. But as for the actual kills, they did feel very rewarding, and maybe it was the setting. It was probably the setting more than anything, because it did feel incredibly satisfying to get kills in this game, especially if you got 2 or 3 people. It was a little bit harder. It did feel like it was a little bit harder to get 2 or 3 people in this game. It wasn't as, you know, super crazy and hectic with people jumping around in corners. So it was definitely a more satisfying experience in that it felt like gunfights were a little more important than, you know, who was there first or who was jumping out of corners. Are very well more maneuvered in the air. So I think, to me, that was really, really good. So that's a little bit about the actual gunfights. As for the score streaks, I didn't really get to unlock a lot of them. Like, I didn't get to play with them because I only played 3 games. But with the ones that I did play, it was pretty awesome because I got to use the one where that plane kind of flies down and just starts shooting at everyone. And it felt amazing, and it was one of the lower end ones. I can only imagine what the ones that are further up are going to be, but I did get the flamethrower. It felt pretty cool because you could use it after you died until you used up all your fuel. I got to use that one that was the plane, which was pretty cool because you pull out the map, you choose the location, then you come down, and it felt incredibly satisfying. And if some of the other score streaks feel anything like this, then I think that a lot of us are going to be very happy. Advanced Warfare didn't necessarily have the best score streaks, but I think that this time around we're going to have some really rewarding and satisfying feeling ones. So that's a little bit about that. how was the time to kill? And honestly, I will say it was actually pretty fast. It wasn't super slow, and it wasn't incredibly fast. Like, you weren't instantly getting melted. It actually felt somewhere between Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, so it's not insta-death, but it's also just enough time where you can actually turn around and kill someone. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. Personally, for me, I like having a little bit of a slower time to kill because I like being able to actually run behind cover or dodge or do something. So to me, it felt like it wasn't too fast, but it wasn't too slow. So somewhere between BL3 and IW, and I think a lot of you guys are probably going to be really happy with that as well. Alright, so the flow of the maps actually felt really good. It didn't really feel like your traditional 3-lane maps that we've come to expect from Call of Duty. The trenches one that I was playing, the very first one, I believe it was like Point to Hawk or something like that. There was like areas you could climb up, you could go down into the trenches, you could go around. Even the domination map that we played was multiple ways to get into the B flag. So the flow actually felt really good. Like, it actually felt like you could run in from any direction. It didn't feel overwhelming at the same time. Like, usually when you have a ton of entrances, you're like getting blasted all the time and you're getting wrecked. But in this case, it actually felt like the flow worked really well, and there was like enough openings where it felt like you were open to go in there, but not so many that it felt like you were getting overwhelmed. So it was kind of weird. It was a combination of lanes and at the same time just openness that I feel like we haven't had in a long time. So to me personally, the flow, awesome. Alright, so how was the atmosphere of the map? And I'm assuming this is talking about the sounds, the graphics and everything. It was all incredibly immersive, and I think this is what a lot of you guys are going to feel once you get your hands on the beta. But it felt incredibly immersive. Like, when I was playing, as soon as the game started, I was zoned in. I was like aware of my surroundings. I wasn't paying attention to anyone behind me, and we were all playing in a very small room, and I was totally zoned in. So to me, the sound, what was going on in the backdrop, even like there was the map Point to Hawk where you have battleships on the outside blowing things up. It all felt super immersive, and the atmosphere was amazing. So if they can continue to keep that atmosphere throughout the entire game, then I think that Activision and Sledgehammer Games are really going to knock it out of the park in terms of how engaged you are with the gameplay. Alright, so the second to last question: were we affected by the black soldiers or the women soldiers? And I'll give you guys an example of one where I was affected, but in a good way. So someone was actually using a flamethrower, and I was kind of running around, and this person, this teammate, runs past me. It actually is a female soldier, and she just got sprayed with a flamethrower. So to me, I'm just like watching this character run by me, dying. Obviously, it's not like an insta-death, but they're actually running around and dying. And the screams that this female soldier had were just so haunting and horrifying. And, I don't want to say that it's awesome that they added this much gore and be like some kind of masochist or something like that. But the fact that this female soldier was there and the screams were just in your ear and they were horrible, 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 it made it different. And so I wasn't that affected in terms of feeling negative or angry or anything like that because I saw any black soldiers or any female soldiers. It all felt completely intertwined in the Call of Duty formula. So to me, it wasn't like I was playing and I saw the female soldier and I completely got taken out of the experience. So maybe some of you guys who are super historic buffs, maybe that's something that'll bother you. But personally, to me, someone who enjoys the game and doesn't really worry too much about the setting, it kind of added a little bit to me, honestly. Just referring to that flamethrower kind of situation. And now finally, the big question: what rating do I give the build of World War II at E3 out of 10? I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because of the setting, obviously boots on the ground, World War II. And more than that, because everyone who was playing was engaged, was having a lot of fun. I was having a lot of fun. And it felt like I was playing Call of Duty again for the first time. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill Call of Duty where you're just going through the motions. It felt different. It felt fresh. And I don't know, it was a game that I wanted to continue playing, and I could see myself playing hours and hours on. So 9 out of 10 because of the immersion, the setting, boots on the ground, the score streak felt amazing, the time to kill was good, the setting is obviously a really awesome setting, and I can't wait to see what new things are going to come here in the future. So anyways, those are my thoughts on Call of Duty World War II, answering some questions you guys might have had here for Call of Duty World War II. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like and a favorite on the video. It is appreciated. And if you are brand new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe and you turn on notifications so you don't miss a single upload. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.